And the very first thing that I do when I go in, I go in to get an understanding of the big picture. I want to know what it is that they're working on. What is the purpose of the job, and why do they want to share that message? And then once I kind of get my understanding of what the purpose is, I can now put myself in it. And then I start doing a bunch of research. I then get to dive into what I would like it to look like, the visuals. And really, that's the fun part. I have to think about who's seeing this. Is it pop culture? Is it my grandmother's generation? And if so, I need to include the things that is going to resonate with them, that's going to create a moment for them that they're going to understand. And if it's the younger generation, if it's pop culture, trendy culture, or whatever, I need to make sure that the right artist or the right influencer is a part of the project. So you have to consider the target audience in the earliest stages of production. After we've got our direction set and we have our outline, then we really get to outline the actual production. This is the actual operating. This is the pre-production phase. This is when we're figuring out everything from catering to transportation to what camera we're shooting with to everything that's going to happen the day of whatever scene it is that we're working on. And so for me, I love a set where everyone who's working is a professional. I like to see our grips, our gaffers take everything serious. I like for the guys who are, closer to the camera, all the way to the outer skirts of like security. I like everyone to really like what they're doing. I like for everyone to take their job serious and be professionals, so because I take what we do in this thing very serious. I take what I do very serious, but I also take the power of video very serious, and the power of writing stories and telling history and doing these things. I take all of that real serious. And so on set with me, there's a very specific vision, and it takes a moving of a ship, and everyone has to be in sync. I get a kick out of seeing guys be really good at what they're doing. When I bring in someone because of their special skill set, like for example, when I brought in Tracy Frost for some action scenes, we had a couple fight scenes. He's a stunt guy, and just watching him work with the actors, for me, I get a kick out of watching people be great at what they do. So if you come and you're trying to work with me, I actually want you to be really good at what you do. If you're kind of doing it, if it's kind of a hobby for you, I'm probably not the type of producer that you want to work with, because I'm looking for the guys or girls who have already put the work in. That way the actors or the client who's watching over your shoulder, they're impressed. They're impressed with the execution. They're impressed with the attention to detail. The things that they didn't think that I was thinking about, I absolutely thought about. The people that I look up to, Ryan Coogler, Antoine Fuqua, Tarantino, of course. Those directors, Dave Meyer, the guys that I look up to, there's just a level of detail that they focus in on, and I like to do the same thing. I like to mimic those guys as directors and as producers. I get to look at some of the guys that are close in my circle, and I get to learn from those guys as well, and watch how they handle their business and things like that. I got to see every aspect of production early on because of the type of company I was working in. It was a boutique production company, and so I came in as a studio manager. I didn't start really holding a camera until I was kind of forced into it, and so I started there. And then of course technology has evolved, and now everyone has a camera. Everyone has the ability to tell a story, but everyone doesn't know how to tell a good story. The thing that clients are dealing with now, or the game of video production is dealing with right now, is everyone thinks that they can do it because they're all equipped with high quality cameras, right? The iPhone is a high quality camera. There are scenes in certain movies that probably have clips from the iPhone in and on the big screen. So people are equipped now with high quality things but that's not the only thing, right? So just because you give someone a hammer doesn't mean they can build a house, right? It's so many phases of it. Just because you have the tool of a camera doesn't mean you know how to deliver messaging. It doesn't mean that you know how to produce properties that are going to resonate and represent your brand properly. So I encourage everyone to do the shorts and the reels and do all of those things, but there's also an element to this that we do, and it's called creating assets. The thing about filmmaking, everything costs. From props to locations to transportation to talent, equipment, everything costs. I cost, but I don't think that we do it or at least I don't anymore. It's not about the money anymore. What it is about is making sure that we have enough money to do whatever the project is. I don't like to approach the project where the expectation is so high, but no one's willing to sacrifice the real, the money. It takes money to do this. And I want to do, things that challenge us and tell stories that really invoke or provoke the right emotion, to create the results, to make people pick up the phone or to make people run outside their homes and show up to your event or whatever it is. I want to make sure that it actually creates the results. But we can't when we get around budget time, artists or entrepreneurs, when it's time to really talk about the cost of video, everybody freezes up because there's specialized positions in this whole thing. And so to do things right, it just costs money. And really, we only really want the type of clients that understand that. I don't want to have to convince someone the cost of something. That's not something I'm into. Working with a team on set is like kind of a dance. Everybody has to come to do their job, but also, we have to be fluid enough to be able to allow the creative wave to happen. Sometimes magic moments aren't forced. What I've seen is some of the art of knowing how to be a good director is also allowing the other professionals in the room to be the professionals that they are, right? So sometimes I have to sit back and I have to let the artist or the actor work out the kinks in his or her own way, right? I may have it in my mind the way I want it said, but sometimes before I say what I need to say, let me sit back and watch, right? And as we do a few rehearsal takes, they may get it in a way that's better than the way that I thought about it. So I allowed that moment to happen. Even in lighting, sometimes if my creative director or my DP is choosing to do things a certain way, I'm not quick to change it and fix it. Sometimes I have to sit there and, see what they saw, because collectively creativity is better, right? Because I'm already focused and doing so much. It's good to have great guys around you, and that's why your recruiting process, making sure that you're only choosing the top guys, the guys who really do what they say they do. That's where that comes from. That's why I'm like that. So after production, after we've done, all that we do, and magic has happened, and we celebrate for having it in the can. That's what that's called. We have our property in the can, and now we just have to make something of all of this, right? So those files go into post-production, and that's where a different type of art form takes place. That's where the editor, the colorist, the sound, post-production audio, composers, music placement, sync licensing, and this is where all of that starts coming together, right? This is where, some filmmakers have the luxury of bringing in orchestras and working on, major projects like that with some of the most world-renowned composers and things like that. That is my dream. My dream is to be able to work at the highest level with the top guys that do what they do, So that's why I only want to surround myself with professionals. But post-production is where you get to make this gumbo. And the editor, of course, is taking the direction from the director and the script and all of those things. But he himself is also an artist. He's also painting a picture now, and he has the opportunity now to style how this piece is going to now be put together. And this is such a very important piece to the puzzle. And if done wrongly, there are things that may not come across right in your piece, right? Your story, if you're jump cutting the wrong way, or if the transitions aren't right, or the storyline isn't flowing, if it doesn't have its rhythm and its feel, and if the editor doesn't understand that, then people won't resonate with your story, and they don't know why. Well, it's because the sound wasn't mixed right, or it's because the visuals weren't right, or whatever it was. But in order to do it right, you have to consider all those things, or at least hire someone who knows all of those things and knows how to dot those I's and cross those T's. The response that I like most from clients is, how did you do that? Because what they saw on set is not even what they saw in the edit. It's almost like they didn't even understand that all of that was going to come together like that. And so it makes me feel good when I hear the whole, how did you do that? When did you do that? Because I like to put a little extra sizzle on top, you know what I mean? Or a little cherry on top for the client, so, or the project, every director, producer, cinematographer, musician, artist, everyone has their little touch that they should put on something to let the world know that they were there. And I think we all have our little thing that we want to do. Nowadays, you have to figure out how to make your offering or your style or brand so unique, so different that people can only come to you for it. And then you have something. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I'm Dennis Dotson with London Park Productions. I am a producer, filmmaker out of Dallas, Texas. Feel free, hit me up, thelondonpark.com, and I would absolutely love to help you make movie, documentary, music videos, anything, as long as you are the real deal. I want to work with you.